All right. Hello and welcome to the 10th episode of the Boom Podcast. I've learned a lot about how to launch a podcast. I've made 300 different mistakes, but it's getting better and better and better each show. And my guests are just becoming more powerful and more powerful. That's not to say the first few were not. I'm getting deeper into powerful types of content creators to help you, people who want to leave the awful 9 to 5 and start their first coaching business or consulting business or launch their first cookie shop, whatever it is you have. We're here to help you. I'm also here to help people like Jennifer Beck, who I'm going to introduce, content creators who might get stuck on strategy here and there. I love to help and unlock interesting constraint to content strategy. That said, let me introduce you to Jennifer Brett. I followed her almost 2 years. I've seen her grow massively in the last 2 years. But let's have Jennifer introduce herself to you. Jennifer, who are you and what do you do?
Hey, Doug, thanks for having me. So in a nutshell, my name is Jennifer Brick, and I'm your new career bestie, even if you're trying to leave your career, I guess. So what I do in my business is I am a career success strategist. So that looks like coaching programs, it looks like corporate training, speaking, some other things are in the works, but really how I view myself is actually primarily as a content creator, because everything I do is creating content, whether it's for YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, any of those things, or if it's within training programs that I offer.
That's cool. And by the way, when she meets, she has things in the works. She's being humble. She has massive things coming. But I'll let her share that in her own timeline. But there's massive stuff that's coming to you. Real quick, what happened in the last week? For those of you who don't hang out on LinkedIn that much, Jennifer sort of got banned from LinkedIn and then got unbanned, they got suspended, they're unsuspended. It was this whole back and forth that happened overnight, within a day. And I just trying to hear it straight from the source. What happened?
Yeah, so I wish I fully understood what happened. So kind of like the TLDR version is I always have a LinkedIn tab up and running because I hang out there, right? I was editing a video on Monday night for my YouTube channel, and I got a notification from LinkedIn that I needed to confirm that I wasn't using bots. I'm like, I don't use bots. Of course, I'll promise not to use bots. I clicked the button and I made a post about it because I'm like, this makes no sense. Like, I am not someone who cheats on any platform. I don't do bots. I don't do third parties. I don't do automation. I just don't. I made a post, responded to a few comments, and went to log in the next day, and I was suspended for viewing too many profiles in my sleep. I was not viewing profiles in my sleep. I was able to get in, make another post about the issue I was having, and LinkedIn help wasn't being very helpful. I got suspended again because they kept on detecting I was viewing too many profiles, so I must be a robot, which ended up being a longer suspension. So essentially what happened was a case study in why, as a creator, it is so important to be on multiple platforms, because building a single audio or a single audience in a single place that you don't own, it's rented ground. I just reached over 30,000 followers there. I've been really active for the past year and a half. Like when I met Doug, I think I had 5,000 followers on LinkedIn and about the same on YouTube. Those numbers are much bigger now. It's 75,000 over on YouTube, almost 76, and then over 30,000 on LinkedIn. And yeah, 30,000 followers, just poof, gone. A year and a half of effort, poof, gone. And the saddest part was all of my content. So lots of lessons learned. I still have an account. I downloaded everything. I finally got an executive escalation involvement. So they're apparently looking into it. So I don't know, my fate there is TBD. I'm sure it'll be okay. I'm surprisingly unstressed about it.
I mean, it's strange to me because typically suspension and ban happen to people who are being bullied and trolled, derogatory behavior. And yes, I understand that LinkedIn is very aggressive about cracking
Yeah.
down on third-party tools, which
Yeah.
you don't do. But what I've noticed, this is just me, okay? What I've
Mhm.
noticed, what certain content creators like you, Ariel
Mhm.
Lee, Leah Turner, Johnny, you guys do get massive traffic to your profile, which might indicate something suspicious is happening. And that's why I made the point today in my post. What LinkedIn was never meant to be a creator platform. They just
It's
don't
not.
understand
Yeah.
fundamentally what social media, the bigness of social media, the
Yeah.
infrastructure of social media, they don't understand that they were a job
Yeah.
board where you went and posted, hey, I need a job, or I have a job,
Mhm.
anybody, and then it morphed into
Yeah.
what we see today. They just never caught up to, well, social media wants you to have massive traffic. It means people are on the platform, but they do have to balance between, well, how's she getting this traffic? No, I know
Yeah.
you, so you're not using third-party tools. You're just
Yeah.
using really great content creation, fundamental, powerful hooks,
Yeah. Yeah.
powerful subject matter, good copy, great video. Well, people are just gonna flock to you anyway if you do it that way. So
Yeah.
what do you think? Do you think they just don't support big content creators? It makes them suspicious.
I think LinkedIn is so weird. I agree with you. Like it wasn't built to be, it's always been a social network, but it was not for the format of 2022, right? And a lot of people have started using it like that, especially over the last few years. I think like really during the pandemic, things really started to get busy there. And it's interesting. So this is the funniest thing to me is my post yesterday morning after the first suspension, there was a bunch of bot comments on my post. And I started tagging LinkedIn like, hey, you're blocking me, but this is still happening. So I think LinkedIn does have a lot of problems because when we do look at the big creators, a lot of them are using automation. A lot of the a lot. I want to actually
We're not
kind of
gonna
say
name
most, but I
names.
don't want to.
Just,
No, but a lot of the big creators are breaking the terms of service. They use automations, they use third-party tools, they're in engagement pods. All of these things are rule breakers. But we see LinkedIn actually promoting those creators at the same time because they get the attention, so they're like, oh well, it's getting engagement, so from a technical perspective it's like, okay, this is good content, this is what we want. But when it's kind of not real in the first place, and then the interesting thing on social media is when something has likes and comments, other people just kind of start liking to like show that they're in the know, right? There's that human psychology dynamic behind it. I do think LinkedIn is trying to reduce the bots. And I think it's more obvious on LinkedIn that the bots are there because if you look at, it happens on Instagram too. It happens on YouTube too. It's just that Instagram and YouTube have better filters for it so that you can actually, as a creator, filter those things out. You can manage it. They have better detection. LinkedIn has poor detection, but they also have lower level user activity. So I think that it's kind of more obvious to us as actual creators and humans when we see it. But I think that from an algorithm perspective, it's really hard to differentiate. So I think they're trying, unfortunately, because it's interesting. Another one of my friends there also got the same suspension, same timeline as me. So I feel like they were probably making some update, and that update had a bug that they just didn't want to admit was a bug.
that's really strange. I would say that's strange because I'm a content creator on LinkedIn primarily, and I wouldn't say that I'm on the level of some of the big names on there, but I do get action. I get a lot of action, and it just
Yeah.
makes me nervous because if I get a lot of action, they're gonna think I'm using a bot or am I using pause, whatever. And the fact that they take the approach of, well, you're guilty until we find out you're innocent, which
This
is
is
like me saying, why can't you just research you or me under the radar and make sure
Yeah.
everything's working out? If it is, we don't need a notification. But if you actually do find evidence of bot pause,
Yeah.
then support, suspend that. Say, here's the evidence. We've got to suspend that. But they don't do that, right?
But this is why LinkedIn will always be my side chick, because when you look at YouTube, which I know we're going to talk about today, is that YouTube obviously has terms of service. They have more sophisticated tech because it was always built to be video commenting and whatnot. But the thing is that they also have a process. So if you upload something and you get a copyright claim, they don't just disable your account right away. And there's strikes that happen and you actually know what's going on. Not to say that getting support from YouTube is the easiest thing, especially if you're a brand new creator. Once you get to the partner level, so over 1,000 subscribers and you're in the partner program, things you get a different level of service. And I think the bigger you get, like anywhere, you're going to get better attention from them. But I don't have the fear of my YouTube account just disappearing one day. Whereas, that is the reality on LinkedIn. Like, I'm not afraid of it, but it is the reality on LinkedIn.
Yeah, you're just aware that the act is just right by your neck. And
at any point in time.
To go, oh, whoops. We don't know why we did that. Well, you're right, because we're going to talk about this. So I've been uploading videos in YouTube. They do have checks before you can even put something out there. And copyright, like you said, it's just for kids, or it's just not for kids. They look for certain things, and there's a whole process before you can even put anything out there. And you can notice that, and it's really hard. I've learned, if you want to go in somebody's comments, say, F you, F that, they have a filter to kind of move that away from everything. But
they have filters.
They're very active in making content happen for content creators, right?
Yes, no, it's built for content creators. I mean, obviously it's built equally for consumers, but the creator experience over on YouTube is really unlike any other platform because they know without creators, they don't have a platform.
Yeah. So let's talk about YouTube. And let me set up why I love YouTube. I love it as a consumer. I love it as somebody who loves to learn. I love it as somebody who likes jokes. I love it for podcasts. I love it for a lot of reasons. It's basically, when I was a kid, I would go to the library. By the way, I'm old. I'm old. So I'm 41, right? So when I went to the library, we had encyclopedia. We pulled them out. You picked A. You pulled it out. You opened it, and you just learned lots of interesting facts. And sometimes you laid it on a subject. You're like, oh, I want to learn more about ants. So you go to the library, you find a book about ants. I love doing that as a kid. YouTube is like that. It allows the algorithm to suggest something to you, and you could go down your rabbit hole, or you could be very intentional with that. Go to the search box, ask the question, or you could go even broader. You could go to Google and type a question or a name, and part of it will be video or blog article. This is just me saying I've always wanted to be on YouTube, but I feared it because you needed the right tech, you needed the headphone, the mic, the editing, the lights, the computer. It just seemed so the entry level. The cost of entry is much higher than Twitter, so to speak. Twitter, you just say, hey, Elon Musk stocks. Woo, you go viral. But you can't do that with YouTube. You have to have some things in place. Did you experience that before you got on YouTube? Like, this is a high price just to get in, right?
Oh my gosh. So Doug, I think I've told you this, like I wanted to do YouTube for 10 years before I started doing YouTube, a solid 10 years. I was terrified. I did not want to actually be on camera. Like that process really freaked me out and it kept me off. And I was also like, I don't really know what I want my channel to be about. Like at the time, like when I first got into YouTube, I really liked like the beauty videos and the fashion videos and news videos, but that wasn't what I wanted to create. But when I started my business, I was like, oh, like I could talk about this forever and ever and ever for hundreds and hundreds of videos. So I was like, I decided that my main platform would be YouTube, which is, in the year 2019 was a really weird place to start. Most people don't start on YouTube these days. But I decided that I would go for it. But really it was a decision one day that I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And I was like, I need to do this right now or else I'm not going to do it. I'm going to get scared. And I had like a Samsung Galaxy phone at the time. I literally just got my phone. I propped it up on something and I filmed my first 2 videos. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to edit these real fast and I'm going to post them. And that was it. And that was what got it started. And once I had those 2, I was like, okay, I'm serious about this. So it's now time for me to really dive into learning about how YouTube works, because millions and millions of people upload videos that no one ever sees. And this sounds so bad, but I'm just going to say it because it's the thought in my head. I was really afraid of being one of those channels that was really sad and had all of the videos with 0 views. I was like, I know that there's a way to get attention there. So how can I get attention? So that was kind of where I started. So it started with getting attention. I got good at that. Then it was about learning how to upgrade my equipment. So I upgraded from my phone to a DSLR. Then I upgraded the DSLR again. Then I did it again. Then I got into mics. Then I got into lighting. Then I got into my set. Now I'm diving deeper into thumbnail design and all of these things. So it's been an incremental process. So I didn't spend 10 years figuring out how to succeed on YouTube. I finally just stopped. I decided to be scared and do it anyways. And then I just been figuring it out as I've been going.
Yeah, when you said you recorded your first 2 videos on your phone, so you probably have the vertical shape to your video where everybody's it probably looked
just hold it this
you,
way.
Oh, you did it this way.
Yeah, I had it propped on
you
something.
Did it smart. Okay. And I see a lot of people.
At least I knew that.
Vertical, and that's not a good look.
Yeah. So I did have one advantage is I was an e-learning developer. So I did know how to edit, do basic editing, and I understood which way to put the camera. So that was one advantage I did have.
So let me ask you before we jump out, what were your first 2 videos about? Because I think the evolution of the first 2 to where you are today has got to be massive. So what did you talk about?
Oh my gosh. So I think one of them was about work-life balance. I've privated them both because they're just so cringeworthy. So the first one was how to have work-life balance. And the second one, I think, was how to get promoted at work. That one might have been privated too.
Just about certain things. Just the beginning, you just got better at sharing the message, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I've kind of, my concept was, so the hole that I noticed, and I did do research. So it wasn't oh, I'm just going to do this and enter a really competitive market. There was a very obvious hole on LinkedIn or on YouTube when I got there. And that was career success. So there was a lot of career coaches on YouTube talking about how to interview, how to write a resume, how to get hired. But no one was talking about how to succeed in the job once you got it, or how to deal with it when it goes really, really wrong. So I started that. I mean, it's what I do in my business. So it's what I do on YouTube too. So it was easier for me to compete because I wasn't actually competing with anyone. There's definitely more creators talking about the things I talk about now. Because what happens on YouTube, once you have a successful video, a whole bunch of other creators make the same video. But it was really it was a blue ocean. I did have that advantage there too. And I think that that's not always a matter of I just thought of this thing that no one has ever thought of. That takes positioning as well, which is obviously, Doug, something me and you talk about a lot in our conversations.
Let me help our audience a little bit. I'm going to get most of my audience knows me from LinkedIn, period. So they've been programmed by LinkedIn how to create content. And I think there's a shift you have to take when you create content for YouTube, if you know what I mean. What do you think is the difference mentally between creating content on LinkedIn versus YouTube? Or is it the same thing? Or do you have to have a different approach to it?
Totally different. So, and I think especially when you're new on YouTube, it is very different. So LinkedIn is very much a stumble upon platform, in my opinion. You show up in the newsfeed and that's how
It's
people
an
find you,
accidental,
right?
oh, this looks interesting, you know?
Yeah. Like no one's ever found me on LinkedIn because they were looking for someone to help them get over their toxic job, right? I showed up magically in their feed and that's how they got to know me there. On YouTube, it's different because YouTube has 3 different algorithms. They have search, they have browse, and they have suggest.
Okay.
So, and in the
Say
back
that
end,
again for the audience. They have search, they have the what?
so search, so that's when you go to youtube.com and you search how to take a door off the hinge. That's search. Okay. Or like how to like regret your shower. I've Googled both of these and YouTubed both of these before. So that's the search algorithm. Now, once you notice that when you search for something and you watch that video, when you log into YouTube next, your home screen now has related videos, right? So that's the browse algorithm. Browse is where you can really, really go viral. So like if a video has high CTR and high watch time, it's going to get picked up by browse, as long as they know who to show it to. And we can get more into that. And then there's also suggest. So when you're watching a video on YouTube, it is the up next, or if you're on desktop on the right-hand side, there's like that list of videos that are like you might be interested in. That's the suggest algorithm. So those are the 3 in YouTube. So as a creator, you're feeding different ones at different times. So the thing is, if I compare LinkedIn and YouTube, is if I put up a post on LinkedIn and it doesn't get any attention and it bombs, it's done. And even if it does really, really well and it goes like super viral, you know, which is fun, but like a week later, it's dead. No one's ever going to see it again. No one's going to deep scroll enough in my profile 6 months from now to be able to find that post. Whereas on YouTube, I can upload a video and have it tank, but that video is not dead because people are going to find it in search. And when people find it in search, when there's interest, the browse algorithm can pick it up at any time. I've had videos that basically like did really mediocre based on like my channel metrics, that like 3 months later, 6 months later, a year and a half later got picked up by the algorithm and all of a sudden went like super viral. And what was really fun a few months ago was that I had 2 videos at a time like December for career conversations. Most people don't care about work in December. So I was like, like nothing's going to happen. I stopped uploading videos after like the first week of December. But the 2 videos that I uploaded in December actually got picked up by the algorithm on Christmas Eve, which is weird, and went viral in between Christmas and New Year's. But those 2 videos took off and they were recommending each other, but then it started recommending other videos too. So then like some of my old hits went viral again. So you have good shelf life. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted YouTube to be my base, is that I hate the content treadmill. I hate creating. And you're just like, you're spinning your wheels all of the time, always a new idea, always a new video, always a new post. Like you're always thinking, whereas YouTube, like, yes, I upload weekly. It used to be twice a week. I just went to once a week. But once that video is there, it's there forever, you know? And then you get like people binge watching. Yeah, you can have people binge reading your posts on LinkedIn, but I think attention is a little bit different because YouTube can be like a passive experience too. I have a lot of clients that have just like put my videos on and just listen to them like on a regular basis, especially for specific work situations that they're in. So it can be an audio experience, it could be a visual experience, but like it's so consumable and they don't always have to be sitting and watching and fully invested. It can be I'm doing dishes, I'm getting ready, which is totally how I consume YouTube myself.
This is great because a lot of people who I work with for LinkedIn get upset when, for example, this is a very common experience on LinkedIn. How come you're not showing up in my feed? I missed your content, dog.
Yeah.
Oh, I hit your bell, but you're
Yeah.
still not showing up in my feed. LinkedIn is, like you said, it's a one and done post. And the strangest thing that it's not Twitter. Twitter, you can spend 5 seconds making your tweet, but you make lots of them, and so you can show up.
Yeah.
But there are people who spend 30, 40 minutes on a post because it's longer It has more
Yep.
stuff to it. It's
Yep.
still a one and done, and it's not easy to go find it. It's not easy to
No.
build your catalog of your favorite content creator. You actually have to build an Excel spreadsheet, and
Yes.
in the morning you click, oh, I want to see Doug's post. They'll go to my profile.
And don't view too many of those profiles or they'll think you're a bot.
Very cumbersome. Well, with YouTube, like you said, you can catalog it. You can create playlists. You can, whatever. It's just easier to do it. But I have to admit, the 3 algorithm thing sounds scary. Should I be scared of 3 separate algorithms?
No.
Oh, maybe there's a 4th one, which is YouTube Shorts, right? Is that the newest?
So YouTube Shorts is a separate algorithm. I played a little bit with YouTube Shorts. I really believe that it needs to be a separate channel because people who consume shorts, the behavior is going to be different than the people who sit down with you for my videos range between 7 and 15 minutes. So it's a very different behavior and it's, I think, a different viewer. So I kind of stopped doing them and I kind of leave like that to like Reels and TikTok because that's really where we'll see the overlap in kind of demographic and user behaviors. So it is a separate one, but it's not one I have expertise in. I know people who are growing their channels using YouTube Shorts. And actually I stumbled upon one this morning when I was doing some like video research. So I think it is a powerful algorithm. I don't personally have enough to like stack, like if I was doing that, I would probably also be syndicating onto like TikTok and whatnot too. But they do have a preference for original content on YouTube.
Okay, so I took you down a tangent. Should I fear 3 algorithms at the same time? Or should I pick a lane? How would you suggest somebody like me to get started? What algorithm should I be focusing on? Or if at all?
Yeah. So I think one of the big things, and I say this to people all the time with YouTube, is that a lot of people get intimidated by YouTube because they're like, YouTube doesn't want to show my video. Quite the contrary. YouTube desperately wants to show your video to people. They just need to know who to show it to. So I personally believe that picking an algorithm to focus on, catering to multiple levels, but like I wanted, like, first I got really good at search and SEO because as a new channel, I wanted people who knew the problem and it allowed me to get information and build a community so I could understand the problem in order to start really digging into the reactive things that get into browse. I think if you really know the person that you're trying to speak to, their fears, their motivations, their goals, and the emotional element and the transformation that they want, and you can convey that superbly well in a title and a thumbnail, go after browse because that's like your highest ROI. It really is. It's just mastering titles and thumbnails is really, really hard because now you're mastering copywriting and you're mastering graphic design. And I personally don't think that finding someone and paying them $5 on Upwork to design your thumbnail is going to work. Thumbnails can take me a day.
Really?
Yeah, I spend time. So for each of my thumbnails now, I have somewhere between 10 and 20 different versions that I preview. I tweak in between titles.
Do you work on them in Canva?
I do. Yeah, I do Canva. I need to get into Photoshop, but like, I don't want to learn Photoshop right now. So I do everything in Canva. It is just easy, right? So each version has like different visual elements, and then I start playing with the text, and then I kind of work from there, and then I'll A/B test them now as well. So again, I really got into the thumbnail like rabbit hole, but the more compelling something is, you don't even have to have a good title if you have a really good thumbnail, because it's like someone wants to tap on that, right? So there's like so many elements that go into it. But it really, I think that it is graphic design plus copywriting together. So I do think it's harder versus search where if someone types in, how do I get a promotion? If they see my video and the thumbnail and the title are compelling enough, then they're going to click into it because they know about the problem that they're trying to solve. Right?
Wow. Okay. We're going to talk about me in a second. But to be perfectly honest, I don't have compelling thumbnail at all. I'm completely intimidated by graphic design. If you put me on Canva, it's gonna look like a fifth grader doing their project for social studies, and they've got the wacky design. It's tough for me to master Canva. And it's tough for me. It seems to me that you have to take a lot of selfies so you can put your picture.
You don't have
and if you
to.
have a gap, you've got to find their picture. It just seems really, it's the fact that you spend a day on it seems scary, but it's necessary, right?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is you don't have to be in the thumbnail. Like I'm in for branding, but there's a lot of really high performing thumbnails that the
not
creator
just
is
you.
not
There's
in.
a lot of other people who put some heads in their thumbnail, and that's part of the draw.
So I think with thumbnails, like the best thing that someone could do is if they want to plan the journey, because no matter what kind of algorithm you're targeting, the thumbnail is always going to be important. Like it's always going to be important. Think about the thumbnails that you click on, but particularly think about the people that you want to reach on YouTube and what channels they're watching, and go and look at theirs. So, and it doesn't have to be within your niche. Like I went and I looked at like fashion bloggers because I'm like, I know that that's the type of thing that like most of my customers are also watching. And then I also looked at financial vloggers because again, this is something that my people are thinking of. And there's some that are targeted towards like women that I work with too. So I was like, okay, well, what do theirs look like? And which ones are really interesting to me? Which ones am I like vibing with? And then you can go into Canva and you can mock it up. Now, if you want to hire someone with a mock up on Fiverr to make like it nice, then you can do that. But don't just pay someone on Fiverr $5 to make you a thumbnail, because they're not going to go to those levels. And you need to be really clear on a few things for a thumbnail. So you need to know what the point is. So what are the stakes? What's the hero of the video? Like, what is the point? And you need to center that. Like it should be an emotional reaction. It could be a good emotional reaction. It could be a bad emotional reaction. If you can trigger FOMO in it, that's really awesome. But when it really
resonates, a lot of thumbnails, not you, but a lot of thumbnails get really clickbaited because they're trying to tap into.
Oh yeah.
They really clickbait, like you click it, you listen, but this is not what your thumbnail said, not you, general content creator.
But you want to clickbait, but like not be clickbait because you want to deliver on the promises that it makes. So the definition of clickbait is like you basically trick someone into clicking on it. But the thing is that you need to, in the opening of the video, like also show that you're going to like pay off on the promise that your thumbnail made. Otherwise they're going to bounce. Like lots of people will click into a video and be like, okay, I'm out like right away if it's not what they expect. So that first 15 seconds in the video is really crucial. So I start with thumbnail for all of my videos. So it's like topic, then I do the thumbnail and the title. I do those together. And then it's okay. Like, and I have like my points, like I outline, okay, what's the general points I'll be making? And then I'll do like a script or a script outline is the process for me. I can do it quickly. Like the one I did this week, it was like, okay, like concept, thumbnail, film, edit, upload, like all of the things was done in like one day. But generally I like to take a little bit longer. I've been really trying to elevate the quality of the videos so that like they're informative.
Why you probably only post twice a week, right?
Well, I actually scaled it back to once a week because as I started to do like more B-roll and sound effects and like there was just more editing stuff on the back end. And again, like I'm trying to get really deep into, I want as many people to watch the video as possible versus just creating as many videos hoping that people find it and are interested. It takes longer. So I had to scale back because I still do like all of my editing myself.
Okay, let's change this up a little bit so people can have a point of reference here. So let's start with me, yours truly. So right now, well, let's just go back 3 months. I needed a place to house my podcast, okay? So that was my first mistake. But let me explain. I didn't want to put it on Spotify because I can't hear. So why would I put it on an audio channel that I'm not going to be on and can't really improve the experience? I can only improve the visual for me personally. And So I picked YouTube like my primary podcast host. Okay. So mistake, but we'll talk about that in a second. What I wanted to do was to take my LinkedIn reader and drive them to watch the full length. That was my strategy. Because sometimes short form is not enough. You need to hear the full thought, or you need to hear the way I handle gaps, or the way I break down, like what I'm doing right now. So I wanted a place to drive them. But to me, I'm like, that's such a terrible way to use YouTube. I mean, nobody just stumbles on a podcast on YouTube. They stumble on the shortest stuff. They become your fan, and then they want to hear a podcast from you. At least that's how I feel it. But anyway, then I said, you know what? I'm going to start making vlogs of random thoughts I have about marketing. And I have about 20 of them, and they're with the editor right now. Just so everybody knows, I hired an editor. I did not attempt to figure this out myself. I don't want to. I really don't want to be bothered. Here, here's the timestamps. Here, but so I've got 2 vlogs up. I've got a whole 9 of them. You'll be the 10th. I got the bug. I got the YouTube bug now. I'm like, this could be really powerful if I only understand how I can get traffic over here instead of using that as a place to drive traffic from LinkedIn. Why not just get traffic from here with either a Google search or a keyword search in YouTube or whatever? Help me, Jennifer. What should I be focusing on? But what are the 3 things I should be working on for the next few months?
Okay. So I think like starting off with like 5 video concepts is going to give you time to kind of start doing the thing, but it'll also get a little bit of data for you to start making decisions, because essentially what you do on YouTube, the way like the strategy is, once you find something that works, you keep on doing that thing, right? So having a little bit of content variation. And I think the best thing is like to think about like, and I know that you know how to do this, like get into your avatar. So like, who is the person you're wanting to speak to? What are they facing, and what can you help them with quickly? And like, what can be done in 3 steps or 5 tips or whatever it is. And like, I think like doing the research, and I know that you hang out on YouTube and you just enjoy it. Like I was a YouTube aficionado again for 10 years. I love YouTube. I'm obsessed with YouTube. I don't listen to podcasts. I watch YouTube. Or I listen to YouTube with the screen off. It's fine. So I think like, but like think about, just pick some topics to go with. And then like, think about it as like every single video that you make is a test. It's going to allow you to test your style. It's going to allow you to test how you talk to the camera. It's going to allow you to get comfortable speaking to the camera, because that's something that most of us aren't naturally good at.
It's just in a circle looking at me.
You're just scared. You're staring at you're talking to your invisible friends. It's totally normal and feels really casual to do that, especially if you have lights on you. But I would pick like 5 juicy topics. If you go for search, do some, querying to make sure that it's topics that people are searching for is the first thing. So you can use something like Keywords Everywhere, which is a browser plugin that when you put in a query.
I love Keywords Everywhere. I use them for blogs, for clients. I never thought of it as a YouTube topic.
Well, it's SEO. Google. So YouTube is a social media site, but it's also a search engine. It's second world's largest search engine, owned by the first largest search engine. So there is always going to be an SEO play here. So pick 5 topics that you're interested in and then research. So search the keywords, look at the videos that are there. I like to look for velocity. So like, is there traction on those videos? So even before we got on this call, I am doing research right now, and there's a video I want to make, and I want to find the right positioning. So I want to talk about being underpaid at work and getting a pay raise. So I'm like, what's the best way that I can position this? So I can put in asking for a pay raise, and it has good search volume. It's like 5,400 a month. I'm like, okay, that's good. But then the videos that are ranking don't have that many views. They're all under 100,000. So I'm like, well, maybe I can say you're not making enough, or like, so I'm looking at all of these topics, and I'm not always looking to have the highest number of searches. Cause again, like, I feel like this is going to be more of a browse one versus a search one, though they both will come into play. But I want the audience that I have to want to click on it. And then when YouTube starts recommending it, because they're clicking on it, I want other people to click on it too. So I'm trying different phrases and seeing what comes up and checking on velocity. And when I find that, what I'm going to do is then I'll go and do SEO research. So like what keywords are actually being searched that I can put into the tags, I'll include in the description, and I'll like sprinkle into the video a little bit as well. If you ever wonder why, when you're listening to a YouTube video, why the creator is saying the same thing over and over and over again, like if you watch any YouTubers who YouTube about YouTube, you'll notice that they constantly say, when I make my YouTube videos, when I'm filming my YouTube videos, when I'm editing my YouTube videos, they could say videos, they're saying YouTube videos for keyword purposes, because YouTube is listening to your audio too. They automate.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's not the reason why they do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they auto transcribe. So every video has closed captioning, right?
I never thought of that.
Natural, but yeah, they actually do look at the audio in the video to make sure it aligns. So if I keyword stuff like with hot keywords that are just, competitive, but then the video is not related, it won't rank me based on the keywords that I put in the description and stuff like that, or into the tags. It's going to optimize based on the actual video. Yeah, no, it's like, it's
level stuff.
It's sophisticated. Well, think about it. Like YouTube was started in 2006. It's operated by one of the biggest tech companies. Like the YouTube teams are like freaking massive, smartest people in the world are working on this. And they know how people were manipulating the algorithm back in like 2007, 2008. So this is a problem that they solved a long time ago. It's not LinkedIn, right? So they've had time for the algorithms to mature and learn. Not to say that it's like not ungameable. Like I've watched a channel who was buying views and blew up and all of that stuff. But YouTube is generally very good at detecting those things. But it also means that like you can't really cheat the system and like keyword stuff and things like that, because they're actually going to get if that video is about what you say it's about.
Interesting. Well, I'm just speechless here because I'm not usually speechless. I usually have a lot of strong opinions. Here I can. I'm just trying to wrap my head around what a powerful tool you have. And no wonder that is your main check and not your side check. If you treat YouTube like your side check, I'm starting to realize that that's probably not the goal you want to go with. Because she can't help you as much as the main check YouTube can. And she'll feed you, she'll bathe you, she'll tuck you in at night. What LinkedIn treats you like dirt. I mean, she's like, how come you didn't buy me a drink? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you want a drink? No, you're banned. Well, YouTube, no, come in. Let me help you. Let me give you lots of data. Let me make you better. Well, you want data? No, what for? What do you need data for? Well, I want to be better at content. Oh, no, buy my $59 subscription, and I'll tell you who viewed your profile the last 90 days. Thanks. No, I want to know what's happening and what my demographic. Clicking my text-based post. What's the demographic? What industries do they work on? Oh, we'll give you that. We'll give you the top 3. No, they won't do it. But YouTube, well, and I love that. So it's just a matter of me personally as a solo professional. You know it as well as I know it. Oh my, they're so finite. There's only so much we can load it with and work effectively. So you have to come up with a system to grow your YouTube, grow your LinkedIn. So what's your strategy? Because you're really good at it. What was the strategy you took to kind of handle the workload to create YouTube and grow your LinkedIn?
So I think the first thing is that I this is honestly something that sets me apart from most other people, especially in my space, is that I'm very data obsessed. I worked with marketers for a really long time, so I love getting into data and analytics. Most YouTube creators don't know what YouTube Studio is telling them. They don't know how to decipher it. They don't know what's good. They don't know what's bad. They don't know how to benchmark. They don't know what the data is telling them. But as soon as you understand how to interpret the data, like Doug, in our coaching calls, you've even seen, like, I'm bringing you into YouTube Studio with me to be like, yeah, this is what's going on, because I'm making decisions even for LinkedIn based on my YouTube data, because I'm like, this is telling me what is happening and where interest is right now, basically in real time, because you have so many different filters and levels. So I think, like, first of all, like, getting to know, like, so I can say, I think this is what my people want or interested in, what's important to them, but the data is going to validate or disprove. So that's the first thing. And then I think it's just about, so I use the data for all of my decisions. I'm not going to make a video I know no one wants to watch unless it's something that I'm just trying to speak to that very small portion of my audience that I know is going to watch everything that I make, because it's a really important message that I know that they need to hear. Same thing on LinkedIn. Like, I'm not making any posts on LinkedIn. I'm not posting anything on Instagram or TikTok that I don't think people are going to have interest in. Does it mean that they're always interested? No, but I'm making data informed decisions along the way, so I'm not wasting any time. Next, I'm really good at prioritizing. I know what's important and what's not important. And I, especially with YouTube, like, I think it's important because I know that people listening to this are just trying to get started. Don't worry about putting out a perfect video. I know this is where so many people get stuck, and it got me stuck for a really long time, is that you feel like you have to have the lights, the sound, the camera, the perfect delivery. I can promise you that no matter how long you spend on that first video, you will look back at it and cringe, because the only way to get really good at creating YouTube videos is to create YouTube videos. That's the only way to do it. So I did start with being really focused on YouTube. I was like, I'm going to get really good at this before I do anything else. It's hard to grow on multiple platforms at once. So I was on YouTube for a solid year and a half before I started to, like, take LinkedIn seriously. Like, I played on TikTok. I went super viral on TikTok, which actually helped my YouTube channel grow back when I was at like 1,000 subscribers. But I was kind of like on and off. I'm still on and off of there, quite honestly. But my bandwidth is going to be okay. Like, I have time for this and that. And then, like, also, if you're doing this to, like, drive business, you need to think about, where are my people? What is going to have the highest ROI? And again, for me, YouTube, people are coming and hanging with me for 7 to 15 minutes versus 30 seconds scrolling on LinkedIn. So which one's more important? And then YouTube also pays me for people to watch my videos because I'm in the partner program.
Imagine if LinkedIn started paying people for helping them keep people on the platform.
You know, it's interesting because Instagram right now, like Facebook, Instagram for Reels, they do have a bonus program for creators in the US. TikTok has the Creators Fund. The CPM for creators is very low. You're getting like a penny for every 1,000 views or something. I think Instagram, the bonuses are bigger. I think it's a bonus versus the CPM. YouTube has a bonus for anyone creating shorts. So if you're new on the platform trying to grow and you feel like that's your jam, you can make up to $10,000 a month with the Reels or with the shorts bonus. So, you know, you can get paid to create content without having a big audience, as long as you can figure out how to get the attention. But yeah, I mean, the YouTube thing is nice because as your channel grows, your kind of baseline income that you're just getting paid on old videos also grows, because the videos I made 3 years ago are still paying me, even though I wasn't getting paid when I made them.
That's pretty cool. So let's get a little bit deeper. Because we know what's been happening with you on the other end. But
Yeah.
before that, what was your day-to-day content creation schedule looking like for a multi-platformer like you? Let's start with Monday. How many hours are we talking? How do you split the time between engaging on LinkedIn, which is a social network, and YouTube is a content creation making the content for that network. So what was your schedule like Monday through Friday, so to speak?
So Mondays are filming days for me, and editing. Right now it's happening on the same day. Ideally, I'm working ahead. Not always. So the filming day can actually bounce around a bit, but generally it's Mondays, filming, editing, and uploading onto YouTube. And then Tuesday is usually finalizing everything with the upload, making sure that the video is all ready. The first video, like the first hour of the video, I'm always on the video responding to any and all comments that come in. It helps drive people to the video. They know that I'm going to reply to their comments, and it's just to support my video because I put a lot of work in, and we want to, it's like on any platform, the first little bit is really important to the success of the video or of the post. So basically Monday and Tuesday is just like, I'm YouTube obsessed. And then like, I love hanging with my community on YouTube. So usually throughout the day, I'm checking out on YouTube Studio and replying to any comments on the new video. I get to as many as I possibly can. For LinkedIn, I tend to fly by the seat of my pants. So I usually will just like type up a post or like film a video or find a video that I want to share or whatever. And then it's like kind of a 30-minute process. At one point I was spending like a couple hours a day, like on there responding to comments, replying. I have leaned out of doing that. I mean, obviously like this week the vibe is very different and I'm kind of vibed out of there right now. But it is like, I know people who are on there for 8 hours a day, like to grow their communities. And I just didn't have bandwidth for it anymore. So I'll be there for the first hour of a post. And after that, I get to what I can and like watch for friends. And I try to support other people's posts. But I can't spend 8 hours just doing that. And same thing. And like, I'm proud of myself because right now, since I got banned from LinkedIn, I actually filmed like 2 weeks worth of like reels and TikToks. So I like got a little bit ahead. So I'm like, oh, look at me organized. But so much is like, as a creator, like I'm really trying to get to what people want to know now. I used to batch film YouTube. So I had like a month of content and I would film, edit, and schedule all in a week. And then I would have the other 3 weeks of the month to just like do my other work. But I felt like sometimes I couldn't react to things fast enough. Because often like when I'm talking with people in the comments, I'm like, this needs to be a video. Like, this is my next video. I need to do this. So it got hard for me to actually have the right conversations to be so far out. So that's where I'm kind of working on a closer production schedule right now.
Okay. All right. That seems manageable. It's just that you just have to eliminate the distraction and focus on your priority and sort of tighten down the time you spend on supporting the community. I don't have 8 hours a day. It looks like I'm on LinkedIn 8 hours a day, but what people don't realize is I work here 8 hours a day. LinkedIn just happens to be one of my tabs that I have open. So I just comment while I'm working. Not like I'm fully focused on LinkedIn all day. Just that I'm working, whether I'm writing a blog, email, whatever. I just notice it on the other screen, type a few things, you see, boom, and then I get back to work, I think some people are literally glued to the phone waiting for it.
Like every notification comes in, it's like, I gotta reply. That's not, and even I'm saying like on the first hour of the video, I'm hanging out, replying to comments. I'm doing other things. And every 15 minutes, I'm going into YouTube Studio to see what comments have come in or like who's replied that I'm chatting with. LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, like I actually have scheduled time in my calendar, like just to spend on social media. I just have an hour block a day. I tend to like pick it up if I'm, making a coffee or I'm waiting to pick up my kids at school or something and just like fitting in little pockets where I can. But I think it's really important. Like the worst thing that you can do for your productivity, especially when you're trying to do a whole bunch of stuff, not a lot of time. Like I only work 4 days a week and I only work 6 hours a day right now. So to like produce so much and still do my job, you can't have the distractions going on because every distraction, it's going to take you several minutes to get back to it. Like the worst thing for me to like that happens to me is like when I'm editing a video, my husband walks into the room and starts telling me something. I'm like, dude, like, no, first of all, headphones, I can't hear you, but I'm like trying to finish this. Because if I take a break to have that conversation, then I'm going to be like, okay, where was I at in the video? And then I forgot what I already edited. So like I can have a continuity issue. So like, no. Like this is what's happening right now. And like the more focus that you can be on whatever it is that you're doing, the faster it happens, the better quality that happens, but it also frees up the time for you to do those other things once it's done without being stressed.
I agree. I used to hate it when my kids were home for spring break or something because it's like I can't focus. Not just content creation, just job creation. But
Yes.
you're coming in and out of the room. You know, can I have this, Daddy? Can I have a cookie?
Yeah.
I don't know. Go ask your mom, you know, and it takes me a long time to get back into it. But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. You can find a way to be hyper focused and get as much done as you can within that
Yeah.
short time frame. You have all this time to hang out with the family, do the things you love, or work on your other businesses, whatever the case may be. I think people
Yeah.
just stuck at focusing and
Yeah.
prioritizing tasks and just shutting the door and getting to work, right?
I think that I think it's really hard with the number of distractions. Like our brains do not understand the amount of distractions. Like there's a lot of digital manipulation, and you have to remember that every single tool that you're using, especially social media, has been designed to hack your brain to get your attention and keep your attention. So there is all of this pull towards it. You're getting dopamine hits from it. Like there is a lot of neurological manipulation happening. Um, that being fully present wherever you are present is really hard. But I think it's also something that as a creator can really set you apart. Because I think even when it's asynchronous, I think even when it's a text post or a comment from behind a screen, I really feel like it, I think that people can feel when you're really there for it. Because it's a difference between a thoughtful comment actually responding to what they said, or a, hey, thanks for watching, or, oh, that's an interesting thought. And then they feel important, and you're actually building a community and a connection with people that are choosing to spend their time with you. Like I do not take lightly the time that anyone puts their eyeballs on any of my content. I take that very seriously. And when someone's taking the time to try to talk to me, they want to, like, if I'm going to respond, I'm going to respond well, or I'm just not going to respond at all. I'm not half-assing it. But I also think that like the people in the real world deserve that as well, because like our kids aren't going to be happy. Like my kid was annoyed yesterday. Like I was just trying to get something done. It was after school and they're coming in and distracted. I'm like, I just want to get this one thing done. But what ended up happening was that that one thing I wanted to get done took forever. So I was frustrated. It wasn't done to the quality I liked. So I ended up scrapping it anyways. And they were frustrated. So I'm like, everyone's frustrated now. If I just closed the computer, gone and hung out with them and come back to it later, or like when it was TV time for them, like everyone would have been happier and I would have been present at the places I needed to be instead of like nowhere. Is basically when you're distracted, you're not serving anyone, including yourself.
I think you almost running out of time, but I want to end with this thought that personally over the years, my biggest frustration with me is how busy I am with social media or clients or phone
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
And as my kids get older, it starts to become my identity with them. And it kind of shook me a little bit. So it is true. I try to finish as much as I can before they get home. So my
Yeah.
identity is not so much. Dad's always on social media. He's always talking to his client. Who's
Yeah.
Rob? Who's Jennifer? Who are these people? No, as content creators and people who work in marketing,
Yeah.
try to get that stuff done when your family's not around, or set very clear boundaries. Hey, from 1 to 3, I'm doing that. After 3, I'm all yours. And I've made a very intentional effort just to start of the new year to put my phone in another room,
Yeah.
take off notifications, email, turn
Yeah.
off Slack notification, and just get to it when you can. And when you do it the best you can, but get out. That's the best advice I can give anyone. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm hearing from you, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think especially when it comes to like managing the different social medias that we're on, there's like, again, like you feel like everyone wants an instant response when like most people are not sitting there waiting for you and expecting you to reply within 30 seconds. They're just not. I mean,
That's true.
I can't reply to most of what I get. I don't reply to like basically any DMs outside of like friends. And even friends, I don't always like see them and it's awful, but like anyone who knows me knows that like my brain just like can't handle the incoming stuff. I get really overwhelmed. And this was a lesson that I had to learn too, especially like as my channel grew and my LinkedIn grew. And there started to just be all of these conversations. And I get so overwhelmed by it. Like it is really, and I think everyone does, but we're just not really aware of it. Again, it's like digitally, our brains don't understand what's going on. So we kind of end up feeling frazzled or frustrated, distracted, agitated. But this is why. So yeah, I had to be like, okay, are people actually expecting me to reply? Are they expecting me to drop everything that I have going on in my life? But then also for me, because this is something that I talk about a lot in my content and on my channel, is that boundaries are really important. And the best thing I can do is to show people boundaries. So if they don't see me on like LinkedIn at 1 a.m. replying to DMs or instantaneously dropping everything to respond to their YouTube comment, then that empowers them to do the same. Right?
True.
That's
I
my
remember one of
feeling.
your recent boundary with me was don't leave me a voice note on WhatsApp, which is fine, because everybody else is like, oh, just WhatsApp, and so I got into the habit of doing that. But it seemed to me leaving a voice note on WhatsApp was a distraction for you, right?
Yeah. Oh, I think I've like done like LinkedIn, but I have a hard time with audio because I don't play things on my phone speakers because I have people around. So I have to find my headphones. It has to be like, it's a whole thing. And I'm like, I don't walk around with headphones in my ears, and like I can read something really quickly, but I can't listen really quickly. And I also comprehend reading better. So I don't, and then like also if someone random sends me a voice note, there's no way I will ever, like friends, I will listen to it. I'll try to remember. But yeah, I have a hard time with it. So I think like, what the more that we know our needs, like we can tell other people and people respect it, because ultimately someone's trying to communicate with you. They want to communicate with you. They're not trying to like get in your way.
That's exactly it. All right, Jennifer, thank you for taking the time to hang out with me. I hope everybody out here got some value out of that. I know what I did. I will leave everything related to her in the description below. Her YouTube channel, her LinkedIn. Just check her out, even though she's deprioritizing that. Definitely worth checking out anyway. So thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.